be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our Redeemer, and it is in His name, which is His Sham, His authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect tonight's message. Amen. Amen, everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. We are still on Kofi _ 42 for both the rising and the evening, Bakwad and the evening. We hope that you are having a great Shabbat Shalom. So far, if it's not quite 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern or 6 o'clock p.m. yet, your time, if you're on the West Coast, or if you're anywhere else in the world for that matter, we are thankful and grateful that it shall be very soon. Thank you for being on. Hello, how's everybody doing? Hello, everybody on YouTube, everybody on TikTok. Hello, Cynthia. I'm sorry. Before we go through everybody, I'm sorry. As always, it's Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant to Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. We give all honor and praise to Yahweh Elohim. We give all praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life to be able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And we're thankful and grateful for everything she does for the community. And just in case it's your first time being with us, we do many different things for the community. We have many different things as far as classes that we provide. We do many different things as far as trying to grow. And if you'd like to be able to learn more about us in any way, shape, or form, if you're on YouTube, just look in the description box with the video. If you're on TikTok, feel free to take time out to check out our TikTok page, click on the link tree, click on either hashtag find Kofi or Kofi-Ofori.com. It'll take you to a place where you can get more information to us or find out more about us or ask us questions or, do one-on-one life coaching, marital coaching, et cetera, the case might be. We're thankful and hopefully you'll hear something today that will, honor your walk, your journey, and bless you and hopefully make you think that we're possibly a community of people and like-minded people that are trying to do things that are righteous, which means in right lawful standing, whether it be kingdom law, marital law, natural law, universal law of attraction, law of first mention, common law, law of equity, admiralty law, public and private law, substantive law, right? Whatever the case might be, we're thankful and grateful that you would join us today. Now, hello to everybody. Once again, how you doing, Sister Cynthia? How you doing, Brother Vincent? How you doing, Sister Deja? How you doing, Bounty? How you doing, Nate? How you doing, Brother TJ? How you doing, Elion? How you doing? I'm sorry, it's making me skip. I missed somebody probably. How you doing, Sister Carrie? I see you on there. Tamaya, how you doing? Or am I saying it right? Tamayas or Tamaya Simone? Is that it? Hopefully I know I don't think I've said it right one time. Apparently I said it right that time. Thank you for being on with us. We appreciate you so very much. And being on again. How you doing, Brother Alton? All right. And if I missed my Sister Sharice, if I missed you, please charge it to my head and not to my heart. We have much love and appreciation for everybody on here. Thank you so much. How you doing, Travis? So I want to spend tonight, I guess you could call this more motivational or whatever. Tonight, I want to remind you of something, or I want to give you a saying that I want you to hold in your heart for a little bit. Maybe during this weekend, maybe you're going to meet some people. Maybe you're going to be reminded of some bad situations you're coming out of. And I want you to remind yourself that I want you to tell yourself when somebody's mistreating you, when somebody's not giving you the attention that you think you deserve, or when you're not even giving you the attention you deserve, when you feel like the world is against you, I want you to look them in the face. I want you to look the mirror in the face. You don't have to say it out loud, but I want you to have something in your spirit that says, you don't know my value. How you doing, Sister Deborah? Hallelujah. You don't know my value. How you doing, Smoke? Thanks for being on. You don't know my value. And if you knew my value, you would not mistreat me the way you did. Right? If you knew my value, you wouldn't treat my people the way you treat them. If you knew my value, you wouldn't come against me just because of the way that I look. If you knew my value, you would recognize that my value doesn't come through Eurocentric lens only, right? If you knew my value, you knew that I would have something outstanding to give. You don't know my value. How you doing, Minister Tamara? Right? You don't know my value. I want you to have some of that in my spirit because some of these people don't know. How you doing, Sister Mary? Right? And if we be honest, some of these situations don't know. Because you messing with the wrong person. This spirit that has shown up today, trying to mess with me, trying to get me out of sorts. You don't know my value. I know this isn't. I didn't say let us go to the book of Leviticus chapter 17 verse 4 today, but I'm here to tell you that this is always trying to tell you is law and case study, and part of natural law determines that you have value. If you didn't have value, you would not need law, because if you didn't have value, you would not need protection. But law doesn't give rights. Law protects your rights. And you have the right to bless this world, to bless this universe, to bless eternity, to even bless inside of time with your presence and with your value and with your gifts and with your talents. All right. And so if you will allow people to treat you any kind of way, or if you don't even know your own value, I've came here today that you don't know my value. Guess what? You might not even know your value. You think the enemy is fighting against you because you have no value? Thank you for the share, Travis. Appreciate you. Right? You think the enemy has taken this much time out of his busy schedule? He could be messing with so many people on earth right now. You think he's messing with you because you don't have value? You don't know my value. You need to look yourself in the mirror sometimes and tell yourself, you don't know my value. You don't know what I'm going through. You don't really comprehend what happened. You don't know why them bills took so long to get paid. You don't know why I had to go through. You don't know why it's taking me so long to get back on track. You don't know why procrastination seems to always be knocking on my door. You don't know why these children are acting up. You don't know your own value. You don't know my value. God, right? God, and when you get this, barak is coming, the blessing is coming, barak Allah is going to be upon you, right? You had that thought earlier today, Aman, right? You don't know my value. There's so many people that if you knew who I was, why would you treat me that way? If you comprehended that I could be the light, matter of fact, not I could be, but I am the light, the Bible says, right? The light is important. The light is extremely important. It is extremely valuable. Try to go through life and never have light again. See what will happen to you. Somebody said, well, I'm blind. I don't have to worry about the light. Be a blind person and never have the sun come out again and never feel it upon your skin. Tell me if it's valuable or not. The light is extremely valuable, right? The light is extreme value. If you are the light, people cannot see without you. As for some of you, you are the only light in the room. You are the only light in your family. You are the only thing that's going to allow them to be able to get to the next level. How dare you keep putting it under a bushel? How dare you keep snuffing it out, allowing anybody to cover it up? The cover up is over. Peel that cover off. Peel that church face that you give off. That face that says that it doesn't matter. Peel that face that you think is masculinity, when it's toxic for you to not show who you are. See, masculinity is not the pants hanging down. That's not toxic masculinity. That's lack of masculinity. Toxic masculinity is not when you hit a woman. That's lack of masculinity. It's time for you to actually peel that veneer off, right? It's time to show that there's some yellow up under there every once in a while. I know you're supposed to have the white teeth and do all that, but it's time to peel it off. Peel that face off. Peel that cognitive dissonance off. Peel that thing off that says that I'm supposed to be without sin, and at the same time I need a savior from sin. You are the light. Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. Really, we could go Matthew 5, 13 through 16 if we wanted to, and talk about that light, and then follow it up with verses 17 through 20, which shows you that you need law. Matter of fact, Matthew chapter 5, starting at verse 3, it starts off by saying this: blessed are the poor in spirit, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to them, or theirs is the kingdom of heaven. What is that saying? They have been taught for so long. Yashvel have been taught by its own leadership, who would for the okie that because they didn't look like everybody else said they should look like, they didn't speak like everybody said, they couldn't quote as many verses, they weren't able to make as much money, they were not in the proper class, they were not in the proper tribe, whatever the case might be, because they weren't as learned or learned, if you will, as some of the other individuals. Because they were not as learned as some of those other individuals, they must not be able to receive the kingdom of heaven. Here comes Yashua flipping the paradigm, shifting the paradigm, flipping the pancake, if you will, and telling you that, hey, there's a whole other side that needs to be cooked here. We've got all these people that the kingdom of heaven belongs to, but they don't think it belongs to them. So blessed are who? Blessed are the poor in spirit. They said that you don't know what you're talking about. They said you're not where you're supposed to be. They said that you're not going to be great. They said you're not going to be valuable. But blessed are the poor in spirit. Those who have been said that your spirit is not as valuable as somebody else's. Your comprehension is not as valuable as somebody else's. Your color might not even be as valuable as somebody else's. You think less of yourself than what you are. I'm here to tell you, Barak, the blessing is upon thee. Why? Because yours is the kingdom of heaven. Barak al, or watch this. Radah al, may the kingdom be upon you. Radah shamayam al, or Radah shamayam Allah. May the kingdom of heaven be upon you. Amen. Like Esau gave away the blessing for temporary food. He was not focused on who he was in eternity and gave up something. And you know what? Thank you, Esau, for not being obedient. Thank you, Esau, for teaching us a lesson. Somehow, some way we didn't learn from it and we tried to give it away multiple times, right? But thank you, Esau, for showing that it was okay, that if we're not careful, we will give up heaven. We will give up our mindset. We will give up a people that we are because we are all over the place. Thank you, Esau, for teaching us that. I know everybody's always evil and this and that. You know what? I can learn from some bad things. Thank you for teaching me that I'm not going to get so hungry for something that I'm going to give up the birthright. I'm going to be so hungry for what people talk about. Minister Tamara, that's a word right there, right? I'm going to give up who I am. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm hungry. I'm going to give up my destiny because I need to give what you say I'm supposed to eat. Yeah, we should deny ourselves immediate gratification. It's not worth it, right? All things working together. Fifth affirmation, Romans 8:28, right? I'm coming to remind you today that you have forgot, but you need to look yourself in the mirror and say, you don't know who I am, right? I'm going to stop allowing life to say that I cannot be who I was called to be before the foundations of the planet, before the world was formed. Yahweh forbid, Elohim forbid, right? Doesn't Paul even say that? Paul talks about us as Yasta, right? And says, if we're going to get into this thing, and are we supposed to say that therefore the covenant that the Most High had with Yasta, therefore nothing that we're not supposed to partake? Yahweh forbid, Elohim forbid. That means before we even bid on it, forbid it. You get that? Before you forbid, just go ahead. Before you even get to that, don't even put no money down on that. Right? Don't even put no money down on that. Right? Forbid. Don't even think about it. Before you put your inheritance on there, before you put your birthright on there, before you put yourself on there, before you put your livelihood, before you put your mind in, before you go ahead and give up, forbid it. How you doing, Sir Stephen? I forbid it. Matter of fact, I speak life over you right now. If you choose to receive it and receive this over and over again, heaven forbid, Yahweh has forbade that you or I or anyone who is in his will would have to be in a position to where we continue to think that we deserve to be condemned and we deserve to be held in contempt and that we deserve to continue to try and participate in a system that says that you should have people that are at ease with your soul being full of scorn. Heaven forbid. The kingdom of heaven forbid. Yahweh Elohim forbid. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, bro. Right? Yahweh Elohim forbid. He forbade it before the foundations of the world. And if you don't want to go back that far, covenant says that anything that tries to rise up against you, right, it shall be what? No weapon. We love the weapon. We love the song. No weapon formed against me. And we love that song. Shall prosper. It won't work. Knows that I will do what he said. Right? We love that song. Right? But what's the rest of the verse say? No weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue that rises up against us, it shall be condemned. How many is every? Somebody help me in the chat. How many tongues? If it says every tongue's going to fail, how you doing, J.T. Ray? Thank you for being on. Or is it Jati Ray? Right? Thank you for being on. How many is every? Right? Now, the qualification, you got to be in his will. You got to be following his will. But how many is every? Somebody help me out with that. Every is all. All the tongues. Every last one of them. Any of them. Not any of them. Any of them. I don't even know how you spell that way. A-N-N-Y O-O-T-M. Any of them. Matter of fact, O-O-E-M. Any of them. Right? A-N-N-Y-O-E-M. Any of them. A-L-L-O-E-M. All of them. Right? All of them. Right? Every last one of them. Any of them. There we go. N-E-U-M. Any of them. Or any of them. Right? Whatever you want to say. All of them jokers. Every last tongue that decides to speak against who you are in the Most High already condemned. So why would you condemn yourself? Salah. All right, we're going to toast on that. Salah. Why would you condemn yourself? Why would you condemn yourself? I need you to talk to yourself. You don't know who you are. You don't know my value. I need you to look in the mirror tonight. Don't even wait till tomorrow. You can do it while we're talking today, right? Make our own word. Amen. Right? You don't have to wait. You can look in the glass if you got a glass and you can see your reflection. Look in the glass and say, you don't know who I am. If you knew who I was, why would you procrastinate? Ooh, that's a word. I needed that word today. In all honesty, I'm gonna be honest with you, right? If you knew who I was, why would you procrastinate? If you knew the destiny that was on me, why would you allow it to even be considered that you would wait last minute when the world is waiting for you to manifest? Why would you wait to the last minute when the world is waiting on you to manifest? Why would you wait to give your talent, your effort, your energy, your gifts? Yes, even sometimes if it takes an offering of some kind, your food, your seed, your blessings, whatever. Why would you wait on that when the world is waiting on it? If you knew your value, why would you wait? Doesn't that sound crazy? You are the change that the world is waiting to see, but we don't ever have nobody making change. Everybody complains about the dollar amount, but nobody makes change. Because you don't know who I am. Yasta, stand up. Kwam Yasta, rise. Rise. Kwam Malach. Rise, kings and queens. Rise, Malach, at Yahweh. Right? Rise, kings and queens of Yahweh, the Most High. Where are we at? Guam. Where are you? Where are you? Why don't you know your value? Is it because you believe somebody who doesn't care about you and never cared about you? When do you rise? Should you rise only when you have to keep getting beat down? Or can you rise even from high positions? Why do you keep having to go down in order to rise? Why do you have to see somebody else get shot before you rise up? Why do you have to see somebody else be hungry before you rise up? Why does it have to be another brother that goes to jail before you rise up? Why does it have to be another Kyrie Irving before you rise up? Rise and rise at all times. Because kings and queens don't get to put the crown down. They don't get to go ahead and take they don't get to put the scepter to the side. A shepherd must always have a rod and a staff. How you guiding sheep and you have no rod and staff, or you only use them when you feel like you're threatened? The rod and the staff isn't just for the enemy. The rod and the staff is for the sheep. The sheep need discipline, the rod of correction. The sheep need direction. Why do you keep trying to give direction to your enemy? We're not trying to get the enemy to rise. They've already risen against us and risen against our Father who art in heaven, the Most High, Yahweh Elohim. We're not worried about them rising. They're rising, but they're rising like yeast. We're rising as kings and queens on top of Mount Zion. Which one is more solid? Right? Which one is supposed to be more solid? You don't even have to try to rise. If you would just be Zion, Zion is the highest mountain, and it has the Ark of the Covenant. Where are you at? You don't even know who you are, do you? Thank you for the love. You don't even know who you are, do you? If you knew who you were, you would never bow down. The only one you would bow down to is the one that you serve, because you know if you give to him and serve him, he will always give more than what you can give. I don't need somebody to bow down to me. Bow down to what's in you. If you're going to bow down to the Most High. Exactly, that bread puffed up. Matter of fact, I never even thought about that, putting that with the bread, right? Hallelujah. Right? But where are you at? Yeah, we refuse to be sold out. SOULED. Where are you at? What is preventing you from being who you are? Could it just possibly be you don't know? May I introduce you to yourself? How many of you, we tell you this all the time, but may I reintroduce this context to you? And how you doing, T Wood 54? May I introduce you a little bit to yourself? May I remind you of who you are? How many things have you gone through and you have not survived? Because if you survived everything you've been through, then why you keep getting afraid of what the next thing is? I was watching something today, and I'm not saying this is part of our culture. I'm not saying it's something we need to pick up, but there's a group I was watching today. I believe it's the Indogo tribe. If it's not, they're related to them closely. And they were talking about how they're men when they get to age 15, which is usually for many different tribes, many different cultures when you go into manhood, right? And age 15, basically when they start eating, they have their first meal with the men. They start giving offerings and they start praying that a certain spirit be all over everybody in the place, right? They cover everybody with certain things, they pray, and then they take the 15-year-old and he actually gets circumcised at 15. Now, the 15-year-old is not supposed to cry out, but obviously he's in pain. What happens with them? I'm not saying this is how we do circumcision. I'm not saying we believe it. I'm just trying to give you an example of tough times. As much as that pained me to see, they didn't show the thing, but you could see him writhing in pain, right? And you can see people were actually holding him and he's holding on to them, trying his best not to scream or do this or whatever, right? He finishes it and they explain that the reason they circumcise the men at that age is because they want them to realize that if they can make it through that much pain, there's nothing in their life they won't be able to make it through. Right? That's why you got to be careful coming to somebody's culture and just thinking, oh, they're doing it because they're heathens and this and that. In their mindset, the culture, what they said is, they said, this is something that if you can make it past this, bro, right? You'll be able to make it past anything. If you can make it past your phallus going through that much pain, and they don't use knives the quality of what we use, right? They were using some knives that were questionable. You wouldn't want the knives to show up if you was dealing with any type of surgery, whether you was passed out or not, right? But bruh made it through, and they made sure everything was there, right? And he ain't taking no painkillers, at least from what I saw. It didn't look like they gave him any painkillers. They did not describe any painkillers. They basically had some of his friends. He had a bunch of his friends, and his brothers were there, and people who had been through things, and his family was there and stuff. And there was a person who was there who does this for all the brothers that are there. And hey, they went through it. He went through what he could or whatever. And then guess what? They actually gave him like a red covering, to be able to symbolize the blood, and also probably so that you don't see the blood that's he's still going through or whatever. And then he sat down, and guess what happened? All of the brothers, all of the teenagers, they sat down with him. All the adolescents, they sat with him. And as he sat there in pain, quiet, guess what they did? They were quiet. They just sat there because they knew what he had gone through. They knew what he did that was going to cause him to be able to always have in his mind, I could press through no matter what. It's something that was cultural. It's something that they identified with. It's something they supported. They knew who he was because they could empathize with what he had been through. A lot of us can't support the community exactly because we don't care about what you've been through. We don't care about brothers who are being messed up over here and don't have anybody to be with. So we say all men are pigs. We don't care about sisters who are going through stuff and don't feel secure. So we say all these sisters ain't nothing and they ain't loyal to me. Call them B's and H's. Heck, sometimes you call yourself B's and H's because you heard it so much. And brothers call them, brothers say, hey, I don't care whatever, I'm a pimp and this and that, as if that's something we should aspire to be. Because we don't know who we are. If you knew what it was, if you would listen to your sister as she tells you her situation, why would you not help her? You don't know who you are. You don't know who she is. You looking at somebody, you don't know her value. If you knew her value, you would never just go ahead and ostracize her. You would never belittle her. You would never just say, get over it. You would never talk to her only with the intent to show her why she's wrong. If you knew his value, you got this young man in front of you. You've got this man who's supposed to be a king in your community, just like you're supposed to be a queen. If you knew who he was, you would never tell him that you ain't gonna be nothing and that all of y'all is nothing and I don't need none of y'all. You would never speak negativity upon him but you don't know who he is. I'm not saying he's gonna be your king and your husband, but he's a king and he's gonna be somebody's husband. Some of you speak to your boys like that because he reminds you of their daddy. Be careful of the spirit that you carry because of what somebody did. Some of you speak evil upon your children because they remind you of your mom, of your baby mama, what you call her, your baby mama. And some of y'all called her that when she was supposed to be your wife and now trying to figure out why she never wanted to be anything more than a baby mama. You introduced that. You don't know who you are and they don't know who you are and you don't know who the other person is. You ain't taking time to empathize. Why is it that I forget his name? I was watching a video about him. I knew I should have taken a screenshot of him. starts with a D something. And there was this guy in Louisiana, this police officer, and everybody gave him so much love, talking about, yeah, this police officer, he came out and he said he gonna come against this gang and he's gonna kill all these gang members and do this and do that. And he got all these black people to be with him, stand beside officers. So it wasn't about race and blah, blah. And all he did was basically call them super predators. He said that they were insects. He said they were animals. He said that, that they were all gang members. And come to find out, you do a little bit of research, and these people that they were saying were all part of this gang, they made up the gang name. And these people some of them actually needed to go to jail, but they weren't going to jail they said all they were doing was going around killing people off in Louisiana. That wasn't true at all. I think there might have been one person that even possibly pulled the trigger, allegedly. But where were we? We as black folk in the community were out there standing with the police officers who we know kill us all. Come to find out, they lied about everything and were trying to lock people up. And a lot of the people, even when they were going to jail, or when they were, going to court, they were going to court over things like, oh, might have sold too much marijuana. One of them had a cocaine charge. By the way, I don't even know if it's because he sold it or he took it, right? But no violent charges. But they had people, and they took the video. I can't remember the name. I wish I could remember. I think it's Darnell something. I can't remember what they called the gang. And they had a video where the sheriff is sitting there strapped up, and everybody's strapped up with these rifles, and they saying, we're going to light you up, and if you shoot against us, we're going to shoot with superior fire. My wife heard it. She was like, so did he just use the word superior? Like, it was all code. And all these black folks are sitting up there. Man, I hope that they got a picture of all y'all, and I hope all y'all will go ahead and say why it was that you were okay. These little boys, they deal with stuff in your community. And a lot of these are church leaders and stuff. Y'all supposed to be the leaders in the community. Y'all letting these boys get put in jail and stuff, and they didn't do this, and you're going to stand by police officers saying they're about to kill your boys? You don't know your value. You don't know theirs. How dare you? How dare you say that you are a leader of our environment? Take yourself somewhere else. Take your hands off of our boys. You don't deserve them. If you don't do that to your boys, I can only imagine what you allow to happen to these little girls who don't feel secure. Take your hands off them too. Yeah, life and death is in the power of the tongue, and those that love it, those that act upon it, will eat the fruit thereof. If you act with your tongue, if you speak, act, love with your tongue, life, you shall receive life. If you speak with your tongue, act upon your tongue, death, you shall receive death. No wonder we had so many people who died off as super predators in this country. All it took was somebody's death tongue. Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, a bunch of Democrats, a bunch of Republicans, a bunch of black folk, a bunch of white folk, whatever colonial construct you want to use. Because you ain't know who these people were, and you didn't know who you were, and you didn't know what was going to happen when your people ended up in jail. Now, all of a sudden, it's an opioid addiction, and everybody said, we got to get rid of 3 strikes and you're out. Why you got to get rid of 3 strikes and you're out now? You can put them in prison too. Or is it because they're corporate leaders? Is it because they look different? You don't know who I am. You don't know who you are. Right? You don't know who I am. And see, you used to be able to get away with doing stuff like that, but now I'm too pristine with it. I'm too nice with this. I'm too aware of my story. I'm not only focusing on his story, I'm focusing on my story. I'm focusing on our story. I love me some me, as Terrell Owens would say. When they got mad at him for saying that, he was saying, I love me some me. Terrell Owens, who never went to jail for anything. But they put Marvin Harrison in. Did they put him in first time in the NFL Hall of Fame? Maybe did, maybe didn't. But put him in there pretty fast and put Marvin Harrison in there. And everybody knows Marvin Harrison killed somebody. But because they like the killer and they hate the person who spoke up for himself, T.O.'s got to be the one that's treated like that. How you doing, Money Green? Like, you don't know who I am, and you don't know that, and you don't, and you need to say that once again in the mirror, because some of these folk are locking you up because they know who you are. You're the trendsetter. How dare you be T.O. and tell people, get your popcorn ready when you play. You're just supposed to go out there and say, oh, let's have a great game, this, that, or whatever. But you're the trendsetter. How dare you be the black quarterback who can run and win games? We don't pay him. Because you run. You don't look like we play when we play. Unless you're Josh Allen. Josh Allen, he looks like y'all, but you know what? We'll pay him because he looks like us. Lamar Jackson, we won't pay him. Both of them have been to the Super Bowl the exact amount of times. Lamar Jackson has actually been to way more Pro Bowls because Josh Allen has been to the Pro Bowl 0 times. but you don't know who you are. They do. How many times they have to keep telling you they know who you are? You think this started with Colin Kaepernick? What about Craig Hodges? You know who he is? What about Chris Jackson or Mahmoud Abdul Rauf? Same person, aka Chris Jackson, aka Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. You know about him in the NBA? Why he didn't get to play? And he was the Steph Curry at his time, and nobody even knows how he ended up out the NBA. Nobody even cared because he played for the Denver Nuggets. It was easy to ship him out the door. But it's because he didn't want to do the national anthem. And he even agreed, I just won't come out for it. They got rid of him. You don't even care about it. We don't even care about him because we don't know who we are. They knew who you were, though. They knew that was problematic a long time ago. Now you think the NBA, because they put Black Lives Matter in the court, you think they're better until, wait a minute, Kyrie just posted a link. He did not say what he felt about it. He did not believe. And they said, because you posted a link, you should apologize for it. Meanwhile, I remember people like John Rocker and the Atlanta Braves who said what they said. And the guy, what was the name of the guy for the Philadelphia Eagles? White wide receiver who said the racist stuff he said. What about the people in hockey who treated the black hockey players how they treated them? How many apologies did they have to get? How many hundreds of thousands did they have to pay to make sure that everybody knew that they weren't racist? Isn't there a owner right now for the Phoenix Suns? He's not allowed to be around the team for a year. How many apologies did he have to give? What about the Miami Dolphins owner who's not around the team? And the Miami Dolphins who's getting sued by the former black coach, right? Who I think he's even Hispanic, right? But the former, they call him black coach, whatever. He called himself that, so I'll call him what he called himself. But the former black coach of the Miami Dolphins who sued them and finally got people to sign up for it. Some of the former black coaches, the current ones won't, of course, but some of the former black coaches and players who were saying racism exists in the NFL because black coaches are treated different than others. Some of y'all forgot about this story, but maybe never knew. That's something that came, was a big, powerful thing. People said, okay, we'll give it a week to make sure like we act like we care about it. And after that, how much have you heard about it? What about Daniel Snyder, who was over an organization that before that was called the Chiefs or whatever, and then became the Washington Redskins, right? Named that a whole bunch of natives didn't have. I know there's gonna be somebody, I'm native, and I felt it was okay, fine. You be over there. For a whole bunch of us, we had a problem with people talking about skidding our people and that being something that we should go ahead and use as a football term, right? He said he was going to go away from that. Then he became the Washington football team. And while he was the Washington football team, before they came up with that whack name, the Commanders, remember that also John Gruden, he gets fired from the Oakland Raiders. Why? Because John Gruden, whose brother, what's his brother's name? Something else, Gruden. There was John Gruden and something else Gruden, whatever his brother was the coach of the Redskins. And so while his brother was the coach of the Redskins, and forgive me, I won't keep saying a derogatory term towards our people, he keeps sending all these emails that's going to all of the leadership of this Washington football organization. And they're saying all these negative things as far as hate of LGBTQ plus people, hate of black people, people having lips like apes and baboons and stuff. And what do? They get all these black people to come out and be like, you know what? I don't know what was going on. That was a long time ago. I forgive him. Look, forgive him, but stop acting like he ain't do something wrong. Because you don't know who you are. It's easy to sell out when you don't know who you are. Stephen A. Smith still selling out, acting like we shouldn't say anything about Jerry Jones and he didn't deserve it. Kyrie Irving deserved it, but Jerry Jones didn't go somewhere with that. It happened a long time with Jerry Jones. He was 14. He's in his 80s now. He was 14 and he decided at age 14, by the way, is age 14 like a little baby? Stop that. Stop acting like this was some 2-year-old baby that showed up and tried to block some people from getting in to school. It was a 14-year-old with a bunch of other white children, them demonstrably in the faces of black folk trying to go to school, spitting at them, spitting on them, hitting them. And here you are acting like he just showed up randomly because he was some little baby who just toddled in there and he was curious. This is a 14-year-old man. Like 14-year-olds had jobs back then, right? Like there's 14-year-olds today They're not allowed to work but 20 hours at the most. There's 14-year-olds a day that work more than some adults do. Let's stop this, right? Let's stop acting like 14 years is some weird place, right? 14-year-old, there was a boy, 14 years old, black boy playing with a white boy using the colonial construct. Let's keep this 100. 14-year-old boy, black boy, 14-year-old boy, white boy playing together, friends, no problem, doing wrestling moves and stuff. Black boy messes up on one of the wrestling moves, comes down awkwardly, kills the white boy. Guess what? They tried the 14-year-old as an adult in prison. If it's okay to try the 14-year-old boy as an adult in prison because he accidentally killed his friend, which should be enough prison sentence for them for the rest of his life. But they said, no, 14-year-old, we're gonna put you in jail for the rest of your life. If you can do that for him, Jerry Jones, you can answer some questions about being 14 and trying to keep some black folk out of the school. You said they were married at 14 when he was a child. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people got married at 14. Heck, there's some places still legally you can get married at 14. But now, because a rich oil tycoon who happens to own the Dallas Cowboys and has made himself more popular than even Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Jay Novacek, the list goes on, White, Starbuck, Dorsett, etc. But you're going to tell me that he gets a pass. Why does he get a pass? Because they don't know who you are. And time is up. Time is up for them not knowing. Time is up for us not supporting. Time is up for us being so against one another that we can't get anything done. Do you know who you are? And if you do, stand up. It's done. It's done. It's time to stop giving excuses as to why we can't. Well, we're never going to do this because black people can't blah, blah. Stop talking to me like that. Right? Time is up for that. If you ain't talking with rising language, and you ain't talking nothing in here no more. Right? As Brother TJ would say on his stuff, we're gonna throw as angelic discipline on here would say, we're gonna throw a party, and this party is gonna be called Rising Language Only. If you're not speaking something that rises the value of this community, stop speaking. At least stop speaking on behalf of it. If your only thing is all men ain't blah, 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 stop speaking on behalf of men in this community. I would, or at least join somebody else's community and then tell us why it's okay to betray black men. If you're going to keep saying black women ain't they ain't blah, blah, why don't you leave us alone? Go walk over there with somebody else and then start talking. But stop acting like you're going to keep coming to the cookout because there ain't no plates here for you. You're not on the invitation list. There's a certain, how they talk about dress code. There's a certain address code here. If you come in here, you're going to address people, my people, your mama, your daddy. You're going to address us with respect because we know who we are. Right? You're going to address us correctly because we know who we are. If you don't like that we know who we are, that's fine. You don't have to like that we know who we are, but you're not going to tell us who we are anymore. The jig is up. You gave too much information. Matter of fact, the information was always there, but now we got our hand on it and it's tangible. And a lot of us has clicked out, have unshackled ourselves from the system. We can't even see things the way we used to. We try to go back to the way we wish we could go back to Thanksgiving, but we know Thanksgiving is supposed to be a period of fasting. And we know Thanksgiving wasn't even a holiday until Abraham Lincoln made it one, which means that it was something that wasn't even celebrated until we can't do it anymore. We know what Saturnalia is. We know what the winter solstice is. We know what Christmas, Christos Mas is. We know what these things are. It's time for us to stop dealing with it. We can't go back. We wish we could, but we can't go back. We know what Ishtar is. We know who Nimrod is. We know where the bunny comes from. We know where the egg comes from, since she was supposed to be a goddess that came from the egg and the moon. We know this stuff. I wish we could go back to it, but we can't. Matter of fact, some of us never were in it anyways, right? We know that there was no letter J in the Avda language, in the Hebrew language, right? The Paleo Hebrew language. There is no letter J. There is no just sound, right? So, and we know there is no sound. We know there is no sound. So you know what? We can't give Yesus or Yesu praise anymore. We're done with that. It's got to be Amanava'al, Emmanuel, or Yahshua, Yeshua, Yahushua, etc., right? We know who it is. We know what time it is. The time is done. I wish I could. Part of me does, if I'll be honest, because part of me wishes that I could go through life blissfully, but I'd rather have righteous indignation when called upon rather than sell out. and be disobedient. You don't know who I am. You got to look yourself in the mirror sometimes. You got to remind you don't know who I am. Sometimes you'll be talking to you. That's okay. You ain't got to go off them, but you got to say, it's okay to look at them sometimes. Man, you don't know who I am. Who you talking to like that? I love you too much to allow you to talk to me, and I love you too much to let you go ahead and and you better not touch his anointed with your tongue. I love you too much. You don't know who I am. Don't forget who I am, who the Most High has made you to be in my life. I'm willing to die for you, baby. I'm willing to submit to the mission, baby. Like you better get this into control. You don't know who I am. Child, I love you, but I brought you into this world, right? And before somebody else take you out, I will allow the Most High to take you out. You don't know who I am. You better get this thing together. You better get this thing together. And by the way, before somebody says something that's a play on words, right? Bill Cosby, I brought you into this world, I take you out, right? Which is something that parents say, okay? Got to add that in because somebody's going to take that and run with it, right? So you don't know who I am. How you doing, Jacob's house? You don't know who I am. It's okay. It's okay that you don't know who I am, but it's not an excuse for you to try and stop me from where I'm headed. It is not an excuse for me to procrastinate anymore. The blessing the blessing is upon me in the name of Yahweh. Barak Allah at Sham Yahweh. It is upon me. We look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. I got to stop now. We give all praise and honor to the Most High. We give all praise and honor to Him from Wife, the Honorable Mind, who lives and like to say to be honored. Check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A-N-D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And she has a Herbalism 2 class that's about to start at about 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time. So for those of you who have class, we'll see you there. We hope to see you soon. Thank you so much. Those who still need the recording from last week, let us know. We appreciate you. We'll be back here on the same channel, 8 a.m. Eastern New York time. At 10 a.m. Eastern New York time, we're actually going to have a nice little surprise where we'll have multiple speakers coming together for a little round robin discussion. So we thank you, we honor you, we appreciate you. And if you want to get ready for tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern New York time, we're coming from the 13th step, Psalm 132. If you're going to join us for the podcast, we're going from the I apologize. We're going to be talking about that ignorance allows experimentation. So we thank you. We honor you. Take care of yourselves. Shabbat shalom to everybody. We appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow. And as always, Yashdel, remember that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shabbat shalom. Hopefully we'll see you guys for class as we're taking Herbalism 2. Other than that, take care of yourselves. Be blessed. Peace.